Have you ever noticed that sometimes the smallest act of kindness can reveal the biggest truths of life? That giving, even when it seems small, can open doors to stories we never imagined? Today, I will tell you a moving story. A story of a young woman, a homeless man, and a secret that changed everything after she gave him food. It was a winter evening in the city. The streets were crowded, cars honked, and neon lights glowed in the misty air. Everyone seemed to be in a rush, walking fast, heads down, glued to their phones or lost in thought. Among the crowd was Sarah, a young woman in her 20s. She had just finished a long day at work. Her feet ached, her stomach growled, and all she wanted was to get home, throw her bag aside, and rest. But as she turned onto a quieter street, her eyes fell on something different, something she could not ignore. There, sitting against the cold stone wall of a closed shop, was a homeless man. His clothes were torn, his beard unkempt, his hands rough and trembling from the cold. In front of him was a small cardboard sign with shaky handwriting, "Hungry. Anything helps." Sarah slowed her pace. She watched as dozens of people walked past him. Some glanced at him with pity, others looked away as if he were invisible. A few even muttered in annoyance, "Another beggar." For a moment, Sarah too thought of walking past. "I'm tired. I need to get home. Maybe tomorrow." But something in her heart whispered, "Stop. Look closer." She stepped toward him, his head lifted slowly, his tired eyes meeting hers. They weren't the eyes of someone hopeless. No, they carried a quiet dignity, a story untold. "Have you eaten today?" Sarah asked softly. The man shook his head. His voice was low, raspy, but humble. "Not since yesterday." Sarah opened her bag. Inside was the sandwich she had packed in the morning, but never got the chance to eat. She hesitated for just a second. She herself was hungry. But then, without another thought, she handed it to him. The man's eyes widened. His hands trembled as he took it. He looked at the sandwich as if it were treasure. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice breaking. Sarah smiled gently. "It's just food. Take care of yourself." She turned to leave, but then the man spoke again. "Wait." She stopped and looked back. "Do you want to know a secret?" Sarah frowned, surprised. "A secret?" The man nodded. He took a deep breath, then began to speak. "Not long ago, I wasn't sitting here on the street. I wasn't begging. I had a business, a family, a home. People used to shake my hand with respect. I had everything I thought I wanted. But it wasn't enough. Greed blinded me. I kept chasing more, always wanting what others had. I made mistakes, betrayed trust, and slowly, I lost it all." His eyes glistened as he continued. "When I fell, no one stood by me. Friends disappeared. My family turned away. People walked past me like I was nothing. Until today. Today, you didn't just give me food. You gave me hope. You reminded me that humanity still exists." Sarah's heart sank. She had expected silence, maybe a quick thank you. But not this truth, not this confession. The man's voice grew steadier. "Do not look at me and see only what I've become. Remember, every face hides a story. Every stranger carries lessons, and sometimes the richest lessons come from the poorest mouths." Sarah stood frozen. The crowd bustled around her, but it was as if time itself had stopped. She saw not just a homeless man, but a mirror, reflecting a truth she had never considered, that one choice, one weakness, one mistake could turn a life upside down. Tears filled her eyes. I don't know what to say," she whispered. The man smiled faintly. "You don't need to say anything. Just remember, kindness is the only wealth that never fades. Money comes and goes. Power rises and falls. But kindness lasts forever." Sarah nodded slowly. She walked away, but her steps were heavier than before, her heart carrying a new weight. That night, she lay awake thinking about his words. The next morning, she returned to that street corner. The man was still there. This time, she didn't just hand him food. She sat down beside him. She asked about his past, his dreams, his mistakes, his regrets. And the more he spoke, the more she realized wisdom doesn't always wear crowns. Sometimes it sits quietly on a cold pavement, waiting for someone to listen. In the days that followed, Sarah visited him often. She brought food, yes, but more importantly, she brought presence, compassion, and respect. And little by little, something changed. The man began to stand taller, to speak with more strength. Hope flickered in his eyes. He began to search for work, to reconnect with people, to believe that life wasn't over. And it all began because one person chose not to walk past. My friend, this story is not just about Sarah or the man she helped. It is about us. Every day, we pass people who are fighting battles we cannot see. Every day, we are given chances to show kindness or to look away. Remember this. You may not be able to help everyone, but you can help someone. And to that someone, your kindness could mean the world. Do not underestimate the power of small acts. A smile, a kind word, a piece of bread, these are not small. They are seeds, and sometimes those seeds grow into forests of hope. So the next time you feel too busy, too tired, too distracted, remember Sarah and the secret of the homeless man. Remember that behind every face is a story, behind every stranger a lesson, and sometimes the richest lessons come from the poorest mouths. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And for more powerful stories with life-changing lessons, don't forget to subscribe to Life Lessons Library. Because sometimes one simple act can change everything.